What if one country's decision could reshape the entire world order and push global powers to the brink? In 2026, the war between Russia and Ukraine is no longer just a regional conflict. It's a geopolitical earthquake. Energy prices, global alliances, military strategies, everything is being affected. But the real question is, why does Russia want Ukraine so badly? Is it about land, power, history, or something much bigger? To understand this conflict, we need to go beyond headlines. Ukraine is not just another country on the map. It sits at the crossroads of Europe and Russia, a strategic, economic, and military gateway. Whoever controls Ukraine doesn't just gain territory. They gain influence over Europe, access to critical resources, and a powerful position in global politics. And for Russia, losing Ukraine isn't just a setback, it's a threat to its identity, security, and future as a global power. The roots of this conflict go back over 1,000 years. Ukraine and Russia both trace their origins to Kievan Rus, a medieval state centered in Kiev. For Russia, Ukraine is often seen not as a separate nation, but as part of its historical core. Fast forward to the 20th century, Ukraine became part of the Soviet Union. For decades, it was under Moscow's control, serving as a major industrial and agricultural hub. But in 1991, everything changed. The Soviet Union collapsed, and Ukraine became independent. For the first time in centuries, Russia lost direct control over one of its most important territories. At first, relations were complex but stable, but tensions began rising when Ukraine started moving closer to the West, especially toward NATO and the European Union. For Russia, this was a red line, because NATO isn't just an alliance. It's a military force originally created to counter Russia. And having NATO on its border, that's something Moscow has always seen as a direct threat. In 2014, everything escalated. After political unrest in Ukraine, a pro-Russian president was removed. Soon after, Russia annexed Crimea, a region with a key naval base in the Black Sea. This move shocked the world, but it didn't stop there. Russia began supporting separatist movements in eastern Ukraine, creating a long-running conflict in the Donbas region. Then came 2022. Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The goal, many analysts believe it was to quickly take control of Kiev, replace the government, and bring Ukraine back under Russian influence. But things didn't go as planned. Ukraine resisted, strong, backed by Western countries with weapons, intelligence, and economic support. Ukraine turned the war into a prolonged and costly conflict. By 2026, the war has evolved into a grinding battle, with shifting front lines, advanced drone warfare, cyber attacks, and economic warfare on a global scale. Today, the conflict is no longer just about territory. It's about influence over the future of Europe. Russia is trying to maintain control over occupied regions while weakening Ukraine's ability to join Western alliances. At the same time, Ukraine is fighting not just for land, but for sovereignty, identity, and its place in the Western world. Meanwhile, the global impact is massive. Energy markets have been disrupted, especially in Europe. NATO has expanded, with new members joining in response to Russia. Military spending worldwide has surged. Tensions between major powers have reached levels not seen since the Cold War. And behind all of this is a deeper strategic calculation. For Russia, controlling Ukraine creates a buffer zone against NATO. For the West, supporting Ukraine is about stopping expansion and defending international order. So what happens next? There are a few possible scenarios. The conflict could continue for years, draining resources and destabilizing global markets. Fighting may slow down, but tensions remain, similar to other unresolved territorial disputes. A peace deal could emerge, but it would likely involve difficult compromises on both sides. The worst case scenario, direct confrontation between Russia and NATO. Each outcome carries massive consequences, not just for Ukraine or Russia, but for the entire world. This isn't just a war over land, it's a battle over history, identity, power, and the future of global order. Because in today's interconnected world, a single conflict can ripple across continents. And the question is no longer just, why does Russia want Ukraine? But what will the world look like if it gets it or fails trying? If you want more deep geopolitical breakdowns like this, subscribe to GeoCipher because the world is more connected and more fragile than it looks.